Yo, what's going on? E7 players, Pat here, back with another one of these Advent Epic Hell guides with commentary. Hopefully I can help you all get the clear. Here is what I ended up using. I will explain why we use each of these teams. The first team is going to be entirely based around single target damage dealers that provide themselves with buffs, because if you look over here and see his passive's retaliation mana, what you need to do is land 4 single target attacks on the ads that he has on the first floor with characters that have 1 or more buffs in order to take down this passive. So that's why for this first team, we are choosing characters that can self-buff themselves. I have personally found Selene to be the absolute best character for this floor. I know I've seen other people use characters like Sermia, and I'm pretty sure there's like a clear with Elfelt out there as well that's just trying to Zerg it down. I like Selene because he has a lot of non-attack skills. His ads have a lot of non-attack skills, so you just get free damage for Selene, and if she's on Swordstorm, you will obviously always have the buff, so that way you can basically hit the ads after you've used your S2 passive and get that passive down. Violet is for the bonus for the enhanced element, because Moonlight Dreamblade is very good at giving himself obviously a buff to disable the passive, and then he's just very tanky, provides good damage with his counters. In this last spot, I'm using Hua Young because she's just a good damage dealer that has a barrier that she can give herself every turn, so she'll always have a buff. You can play whatever you want in this slot. I've used Decay as well to clear in this spot as well. So anything is fine here, just as long as they are single target damage dealers. It doesn't even matter what color. They don't have to be green. They could be literally any color as long as they self-buff themselves. Like if you want to go Remnant Violet and a bunch of dark characters, that's fine. Just make sure you have single target characters that self-buff. The second team is the bulk of the fight. If you're going to live and die by this second team, if you do not have a good second team, I don't see how you clear it. I'd say like 90% of the difficulty of the fight is actually in the second phase, and that is because, again, of this other passive he has. Counter attack mana. If you go into the third phase without dispelling this, he will counter everything you do, and there's pretty much just no way you're going to survive. You're going to die so fast, so you have to dispel this. And to dispel it, he has to be attacked 4 times by single target attacks while he has 3 or more debuffs on him. Additionally, he has these mushrooms that explode and do a ton of damage. You get poison to your entire team, and he constantly respawns them. So you want a character, or I should say characters, with lots of AoE attacks that also have lots of debuffs. I have found that the best character for this is Silverblade Araminta, because she generates a metric ton of burn stacks on the boss. And then if you combine her with the Sira Ren artifact, she will have so many debuffs on the boss that you will almost always be able to easily dispel this actual passive that he has. The S3 is also really good because you can use it to stun lock and contain the mushroom, so you take a lot less damage. Tamarin, pretty self-explanatory why I'm playing her. I want her on Potion Vial because the restrict debuff that the boss gives is absolutely debilitating in my experience, so I would really think you should be playing her on Potion Vial. And then finally, I have Tenebria here because she can, again, help contain the mushrooms, and she has a slew of debuffs. Alternatives that you can use Red Araminta in the slot. You can also use Baal Sezan in the slot. I've theorized that Carrot might possibly be an option for you with burn stacks, but for the most part, I would stick to Silverblade, Tenebria, Baal Sezan, and Red Araminta. I think that those characters are really good. If you have found any other options, that is fine. But I think you really should try and play at least like Red Tenebria. She's been pretty amazing, and honestly, she's a character that's very good in expeditions, and she's also one of the best Abyss characters, so you should get on it if you don't already have her built. And then the third floor is honestly a joke once the counter passive is down. What we're going to end up doing is Raz is going to go first. He's just going to end up using his S2, defense break the team, or I should say the boss, and then you're just going to Soulburn Milam until you win the fight. That's pretty much it. Fighter Maya is literally here just for insurance in case for some reason Milam dies, and that way you can just use the S3 on Fighter Maya to just instantly kill the boss with whatever health it has left. Alright, let's jump into the run. Alright, so here we are, Decaying Naturas. So you can see at the start he uses a non-attack skill. Selene will always counter here. It's just free damage. You can see it's almost 5% free damage just for existing, so that's why I like it. Use Hua Young here. I've used Senya and gotten past this floor using her S3 for just to get the buff. Use Isaria just to defense break to do more damage. We're just going into the boss here with Thunderclap because we just want to try to do as much damage as possible. Once we have him kind of low, we just want to work down that passive and make sure that we don't have to deal with the bonus damage throughout the rest of the fight. Violet, I always use the apple first, especially if he has the debuff on him, and just go into the ad, because odds are when he counters, he's just going to go into the boss most of the time. Lucky dual attack. I don't have to waste another attack on this. Otherwise, I would have to use like Violet's next turn in order to dispel it. So now you can see retaliation. I believe that's the one. The crit damage one is now gone. So now you can just go completely face at this point. Again, this is a really, really simple first phase. Even though it looks like I'm going to be very close to dying, you usually pass it with almost a 100% success rate for the most part. Yeah, Violet S3 as long as I have 5 focus stacks. And just S3 here with Hua Yong. I believe this should push phase. If it doesn't, yeah. So it pushes. Alright. So now we move into the second phase with the mushrooms. So Tamarin, if she goes first, you want her to attack the mushroom because you don't want to push everybody else up. This is unfortunate. I got the dual attack, so I just ended up taking damage here, and so I do less damage as a result. We use Meteor Fall here in order to just kind of stun and contain the team, as you can see. Now we use the S2 on Tenebria. Since everything is already stunned, we don't need to sleep it, so we might as well push back and slow everybody so we can get more turns. We want to get to a point where we are just like raining down a ton of debuffs. So now we have 3. Everything after this that's a single target attack is free money. So now we'll go into a Tamarin. We don't mind giving the boss stacks because it's going to get rid of his passive. S3 on Tenebria again in order to contain the mushrooms. So now again, we don't have to deal with these mushrooms. They're slept. Got a lucky dual attack there. That's fine. You'll still be able to have plenty of time to get off another attack at some point during this fight. You're going to see there's going to be a lot of single target attacks, so it's like we have plenty of time. My Tenebria is a damaged Tenebria, by the way, so that's why she's like the big damage dealer here. She is built as a damage dealer. Just enough effectiveness on both her and Araminta in order to actually land it, which is 85. You want to make sure you have at least 85. And after that, just go straight damage stats. Again, no reason to go there. Use that to kill the mushroom, push it back. Yep, Sura Ren, get 2 procs. Doesn't really matter. At this point, you can see that would have been a 3rd debuff, so next attack would do it. Idle, get the attack buff. At this point, Meteor Fall should be back, I believe, on Araminta. Again, we're just containing the mushrooms. You notice how like there's very little that's happening here because the mushrooms are just constantly either slept or stunned. It makes this very, very easy. That's why I really like this. And I think you can use, again, Red Araminta if you don't have Silverblade Araminta, because her S3 Flame Pillar is a very similar move, just less percentage chance of it proccing. So yeah, here we go. We forced it. Now we're going to go into this last phase. You'll notice, by the way, that this is a glitch. And that is entirely because of the fact that we killed it via burns, I believe. So now all you do is you Soulburn Raz here in case something goes wrong. And then all you're going to do is just Soulburn Mealum until you win the game. It's that simple. If you don't have Mealum, you can use Spectre Tenebria. If you don't have Spectre, then you can try Remnant Violet, for example, or some other really strong defense pen nuke where you can Soulburn Raz and try to get a defense break, use the defense pen nuke to kill them, and then use the bonus damage because they're low on life with Fighter Maya to wrap up. It's pretty much a very straightforward and easy fight, so hopefully that helped. Let's show you the stats now. Alright, so let's look at the units, and we will go and start with Celine. This is my standard PvP Celine, nothing crazy here for the most part. Like, I have high health, good damage. My speed is not exactly the best. You can honestly play like a 180 speed Celine and you'll probably be fine. My Hua Yong is my PvP Hua Yong. Looks like this. You can use Tooth if you want. I use Gators because my Tooth is occupied on somebody else. So yeah, this is fine for the most part. Violet, again, standard PvP Violet for the most part. Obviously, I'm a little bit slower for more bulk. You can play, honestly, whatever you want. Again, first team, not super, super important. What is important is actually the second team, so we'll start with Tenebria. As you can see, I have roughly around 85 crit chance, 250 crit damage, some amount of attack, and some decent bulk. Right side is a crit damage, health, speed setup, and then we want to have over 85 effectiveness if we can. Kaladra is what we're doing just for bonus damage when we actually use our S3 and our S1 because they hit pretty hard for the most part. Tamarin is pretty much standard Tamarin. Again, here you go. Wondrous Potion Vial is really, really important. I have like about 230 speed, decent bulk, a little bit of effectiveness to get rid of that speed buff on the boss. And then finally, we have Silverblade Araminta here. Again, 85 effectiveness so that we are always landing what we can. Some crit hit chance in order to make sure that she does decent damage and push it. Around 3,800 attack. Sierra Ren just to help with landing the debuffs. Right side is crit hit chance, necklace, attack ring, speed boots. Moving on to the third side, Roz is basically on just junk gear. You can see I have blue boots, for example, and we're not even having some reforges. Around 230 speed, 85 effectiveness to guarantee that we get the defense break, assuming we roll the percentage on command strike. Milam is literally my PvP Milam. She doesn't even have full reforges, as you can see. 226 speed, about 270 crit damage, 4,100 attack, and some pen set in order to do extra damage. And then Fighter Maya as well. Here you go. Roughly around 85 crit chance, 250 crit damage. This is pretty much the exact same Fighter Maya from How to Play Fighter Maya. So here you go. That's all my units. Hopefully this helps you guys get it clear. Best of luck to you on all of your farming. Enjoy now. Catch y'all later.